All right, I've got another at-home Theme 7 challenge for you this week. Last week I posted an activity about how to help your child monitor their understanding, and this week I'm going to focus on sequencing, which would be putting events in order. Now, these two skills are very, very linked together. As you can see, if you can monitor your own understanding and ask questions to figure out things you don't understand, then you should be able to put things in order. Ideally, right? So this week's activity, I'm going to ask you. Now, again, I want to put an emphasis on this. You do not have to do these activities. They're not mandatory. I'm not taking grade on them. I'm just trying to provide you with some meaningful activities to do with your child that will lead to improved comprehension for them and for you of what we're learning. So for this week's at-home challenge for reading, I have two kind of separate ideas. So maybe you pick the one that you like best, or maybe you end up doing both of them. That's up to you. So the first thing would be if you get a newspaper, or even if you subscribe to something online, it'd be very easy to look this up. My idea is that you would take comic strips, so like Garfield or, I don't know, whatever other comic that you like. It really could be anything. It could be an old Calvin and Hobbes book you have. It could be a current one. It could be a Family Circus, anything you want. But take a comic strip and cut out the individual boxes, the individual cells, and then mix them up. And then give them to your child and see if they can put them back in order. They'll probably need to read each cell first and kind of get an idea of what is happening in the storyline. And then they should be able to put it back in order. They're going to have to use some context clues within the cells to figure that out. And you can definitely help them point out clues, point out things that, I don't know if that should be next. Really emphasize the vocabulary of first, next, and then. All those transitionary words, I want to hear them really, really using. So that could, like I said, that could be a thing. If you get a newspaper, great. If you don't, you can always Google comic strips and then print some out and do that activity with your child. The other idea that you could do would be kind of a which way do we go activity. So choose like a familiar route. Maybe it's on your way to Hy-Vee. Maybe you're driving to Ridgeview Elementary. Maybe you're going to the library. Pick somewhere that you go fairly frequently. And while you're driving, see if your child can tell you, where do you go next? Do I turn right? Do I turn left? And as you're driving, I know we always do multiple things while we're driving, but as you're driving, see if you can encourage that, also that vocabulary of left, right, next. Oh, I'm going to turn left at the light, or I'm going to turn right by double A's. See if there's those clues, because when we give directions to adults, sometimes you always hear people like, oh, if you've hit the railroad tracks, you've gone too far, right? Or there's always a step of, there's a really big tree on the corner. And while that seems silly, it's very purposeful, because not only are you giving your friend a direction, using your words, but you're also giving them a visual representation of where they should be. And that's something that I want to encourage with your child as well, that not only are we giving people words for our directions, we also are giving them some kind of visual to help them connect, in case maybe they're not a visual person, or maybe they're not an auditory person, and that way the person's getting kind of two areas to look at. So those are my ideas for you this week for at-home challenges to practice sequencing, which connects to our monitoring and understanding, using a comic strip, or having your child tell you which way to go when you're driving. It'll be interesting to see how closely they pay attention to those. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear feedback and responses, and thanks for trying.